Have you ever had that feeling, where your brain has like a million tabs open and you just can't seem to close any of them? Like your ability to just sit down and focus on one single thing is just slipping through your fingers? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to get into why our attention seems to be in a full-blown crisis, pulling from the amazing work of author Johann Hari and the science behind what's happening to our focus.
So, to really get to the heart of this, let's start with a story. It's a feeling Johann Hari had about his godson Adam. But, it's one of those feelings that he pretty quickly realized was also about himself. And honestly, it's probably about all of us too.
All right, so picture this. Hari finally makes good on a promise to take his teenage godson to Graceland, the home of the one and only Elvis Presley. There was just one tiny condition. Adam had to turn his phone off for the day. And yeah, you can probably guess how long that lasted.
Now, here's where it gets really weird. The setup at Graceland is interesting. You don't get a tour guide. Nope, you get an iPad. And Hari just stands there watching people walk through Elvis's actual home, staring not at the real furniture, the real carpets, but at a little digital video of it on their screens.
And this one moment in Elvis's famous jungle room just captures the whole absurdity of it. A guy next to Hari excitedly tells his wife, "Hey, if you swipe left on the iPad, you can see the rest of the room." Hari just wanted to scream, but we're in the room. Just turn your head. They were right there, physically present, but their minds? They were somewhere else entirely.
So he turns to share a laugh about this with his godson, and he finds him huddled in a corner just scrolling through Snapchat. And Hari's frustration just boils over. But then it hits him. His anger wasn't just at Adam or the tourists, it was also at himself. Because he felt his own focus fracturing, his own ability to just be there was disappearing, just like his godson's.
Okay, so what is actually happening in our brains when we feel this way? Well, let's meet the system that's supposed to be in charge. The CEO of your brain.
In cognitive science, this system has a pretty formal name, our executive functions. But don't let the name scare you. Just think of them as the air traffic controller or the CEO of your brain. They are the high-level processes that manage and regulate everything else, helping you plan, focus, and, actually get things done.
These are the key skills your brain's CEO is using all day, every day. That thing that helps you resist checking that notification, that's inhibitory control. The ability to hold a phone number in your head for a few seconds, that's working memory. And cognitive flexibility is what lets you switch from one thing to another. And what's really wild is that all these functions are housed in our prefrontal cortex, which doesn't even fully mature until we're in our 20s.
But here's the thing. This incredible system, it's also incredibly fragile. And one of its biggest enemies? Something that millions, maybe billions of us are not getting enough of: sleep.
We can see this with crystal clarity in a study of college students, a group pretty famous for pulling all-nighters, right? Researchers tracked how much they slept and then put their cognitive skills to the test. And the results? Well, they were pretty dramatic. The cost of being exhausted is just stark. Students who got less than 5 hours of sleep saw their working memory performance drop by a staggering 23%. Their ability to just pay attention to something for a prolonged time fell by 18%. It's simple, really. When the CEO is exhausted, the whole company performs poorly. And this leads us to maybe the most important idea of all. If you are struggling to focus, it might not actually be your fault. The problem could be way, way bigger than you. We've all been told this story that our attention spans are just shrinking, like it's some kind of natural, unavoidable process of modern life. But what if that whole story is just wrong? So this right here is the crucial shift in thinking. Hari argues we need to stop saying, "my focus collapsed," and start saying, "my focus was stolen." See the difference? This isn't about blaming ourselves for being weak-willed. It's about recognizing that there are powerful external forces that are actively degrading our ability to pay attention. So who are these thieves? Well, one of the main culprits is something neuroscientists call the switch cost effect. See, our brains can really only think about one or two things at once. When we think we're multitasking, we're not. We're actually just switching really, really fast between tasks. And every single one of those switches comes with a price, a cognitive cost. Get a load of this number. One study found that students who just received text messages while they were taking a test performed on average 20% worse than the students who didn't. 20%! That's a huge drop caused by just a few simple interruptions. As one MIT neuroscientist puts it, we are living in a perfect storm of cognitive degradation. So the big point here is that this isn't just an individual problem. It's a cultural one.
Professor Joel Nigg argues we've created an attentional pathogenic culture, which is a fancy way of saying our environment is literally toxic to focus, in the exact same way an environment filled with junk food is toxic to our physical health.
Okay, I know this all sounds pretty bleak, but there is hope. We can fight back, and we have to do it on two different fronts. One individual, and the other, which is arguably more important, is collective.
Okay, so on the individual level, we can play defense. This means actively carving out time for what are called flow states. You know that feeling when you're so absorbed in something you love, like playing music or coding or gardening, that time just melts away? That is the deepest form of attention we have, and we need to fiercely protect it.
But, and this is a really big but, individual defense is not enough. As the philosopher James Williams puts it, you can't solve an air pollution problem by just deciding to wear a gas mask. Sure, it might protect you for a little while, but it doesn't fix the root cause. We also have to go on offense.
And this isn't some fantasy. This is real. In France, ordinary workers got together, they organized, and they won the legal right to disconnect. That means their bosses literally cannot contact them outside of work hours. They fought the system that was burning them out, and they won.
Now, imagine if we applied that same logic to our technology. We could demand that social media companies change their entire business model, which right now is based on one thing: capturing, holding, and selling our attention to the highest bidder. There are other ways they could work that would actually heal our focus instead of hacking it.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't about willpower. The pioneering researcher Roy Baumeister explains that self-control is like a muscle. It's a finite resource, and it gets tired the more you use it. Right now, we're living in a system that's constantly pouring itching powder all over us and then trying to sell us a mindfulness app to help us not scratch. You see the problem? The real solution is to stop the people who are pouring the powder in the first place.
So the final thought I want to leave you with is this: simply realizing that your attention was stolen from you, not that you lost it. That is a radical act. That's the first step. But the next step is a question for all of us. Are we ready to band together and fight to get it back?